If you ever wanted to invest in real estate without being a landlord, this video is just for you. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today we're diving into something that confuses a lot of new investors. The difference between performing and non-performing notes. We'll break down how they work, what makes them different, and most importantly, how investors actually make money from each type. And don't worry, I'll share some real examples so you can clearly see how both can be powerful income generators depending on your goals. So why don't you grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Before we compare performing and non-performing notes, let's make sure we're on the same page. When somebody buys a home, they usually don't pay the full price up front. They take out a loan from a bank or a lender. In return, they sign two documents: a promissory note, which is the borrower's written promise to repay the loan, and a mortgage, or sometimes called a deed of trust, which secures that promise with the property. Now here's the key idea. Those notes can be bought and sold between investors, just like stocks or bonds. So instead of owning a house, you own the debt that's tied to that house. The borrower makes payments to you, and you earn interest just like a bank. That's what note investing is all about. You're stepping into the lender's shoes, earning cash flow without tenants, toilets, or property taxes. Pretty cool, right? Alright, let's start with performing notes. A performing note is basically a loan where the borrower is paying as agreed. They're on time, they're consistent, and you're collecting those monthly payments like clockwork. Now imagine this. You buy a performing note with a remaining loan balance of $80,000. The borrower pays $700 a month at 8% interest rate, and there are 20 years left on the loan. You purchase that note for $70,000, a decent discount. So what happens? You start collecting $700 every month. If you do the math, your effective return ends up around 12% annually because you bought it at a discount. And the best part? You're not fixing leaking faucets or dealing with tenants or worrying about vacancies. You're simply receiving payments, just like a bank would. Now let's say 5 years go by and the borrower decides to refinance or sell the house. They pay off the full balance, maybe around $73,000, and you receive that in one lump sum. That's extra profit on top of all the monthly payments you've already received. That's the power of performing notes. They're predictable, reliable, and generate true passive income. Now let's switch gears and talk about non-performing notes, or NPNs as we call it. This is where things get a little more interesting and potentially more profitable. A non-performing note is simply a loan where the borrower has stopped making payments, usually for 90 days or more. Maybe they lost their job, maybe there was a divorce, or maybe they just stopped communicating. To most lenders, that's a problem. But to an investor, that's an opportunity, because non-performing notes can be purchased at a deep discount, sometimes 40 to 60 cents on the dollar. Let's say you find a non-performing note with a property value of $100,000, a remaining loan balance of $80,000, and you buy it for, in this example, $40,000. Why would someone sell it that cheap, you might ask? Because the lender doesn't want to deal with the legal process or the headache of chasing payments. They'd rather just sell it and move on. Now, as the investor, you have several strategies. First is a loan modification. You contact the borrower, listen to their situation, and try to get them back on track. That's the rewarding part. Maybe they agree to start paying $600 a month again under the new terms. Boom! You've just turned a non-performing note into a re-performing one, and now your $40,000 investment is producing $600 a month. If you sold that note to another investor, you could easily get 60,000 or more for it. That's a 50% increase in value, plus collected payments during that time. Second is foreclosure. If the borrower truly can't pay, you can start the foreclosure process and potentially take ownership of the property. Since the property is worth 100,000 and you only paid 40,000 for the note, even after, let's say, 10,000 in legal costs and other closing costs, you're still sitting on a great profit margin. Now, a little caveat, this is not always a path to owning the property, and this is, as investors, shouldn't be our main focus of kicking somebody out of their house. But in some cases, it might still give you a good return if you end up with the property. If not, you will get paid fully off at the auction. Third is a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Sometimes the borrower willingly gives you the property back to avoid foreclosure. You take the deed, clean up the property, and sell it, often recovering your full investment and then some. The key here is buying right. You need to make sure there's enough equity and a clear exit plan. Non-performing notes can be riskier and take more time, but they can also yield returns of 15, 20, 30, or even more, depending on the situation. Alright, let's stack them side by side and see how they compare. Performing notes, the borrower pays on time and get monthly cash flow, and the risk level is low to moderate. It's very passive. Your profit comes from interest income, and the average return are between 6, 8, and up to 12% in some cases. Non-performing notes, the borrower has stopped paying. There's no cash flow until you fix the situation, and the risk is higher. It's more hands-on, but your profit comes from buying at a deep discount and working out a deal. The returns can be 15, 30% or even more. So if you're someone who loves predictability and steady income, performing notes are a great fit. You know what's coming in each month, and you can plan around it. But if you're more of an active investor, someone who likes solving problems, creating value, and maximizing returns, then non-performing notes might be your lane. It's kind of like the difference between buying a finished rental property versus flipping a fixer-upper. Both can be profitable. They just require different mindsets and strategies. Now here's where it gets exciting. Many experienced investors, including us here at Ritzel Notes, use a hybrid strategy. We buy performing notes to create consistent monthly income, and we selectively buy non-performing notes for higher upside potential. This balance provides both cash flow and growth, while helping borrowers stay in their homes whenever possible. Because at the end of the day, note investing isn't just about profits. It's also about creating solutions. When we help a struggling homeowner re-establish payments, everybody wins. They get to keep their home, and we create a valuable performing asset. So to sum it all up, performing notes are great for stability, predictability, and long-term passive income. Non-performing notes are ideal for those seeking higher returns and don't mind rolling up their sleeves to add value. And combining both can give you the best of both worlds. If you'd like to learn more about mortgage note investing, explore new opportunities, or see some real note deals in action, visit our website at www.ritzelnotes.com. You'll find helpful guides, insights, and ways to connect with us if you're ready to start investing in notes. And remember, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video, where we'll show you how to evaluate a mortgage note before you buy it. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the world of real estate, you don't always have to own the property to profit from it. Sometimes, you just have to own the paper. Please visit ritzelnotes.com to learn more. And remember, Ritzel Notes is where smart investors becomes the bank.